Welcome to Kyle Anthony's UFC Betting Show. I am Kyle Anthony, and welcome to the podcast. Welcome to the prediction show for UFC on ESPN 27. Cory Sandhagen versus Dillashaw. The return of the snake is back. Exciting main event, and really this card in general is pretty stacked. I mean, it's exciting for entertainment purposes as well as wagering. I mean, if you put a title fight on top of this card, it's a pay-per-view. I mean, I really like this card a lot. Really excited about it. Love the betting spots as well. Currently, right now, I have a package up on Wagertalk. 3 plays up there. 1 play is a 4% best bet play. I'm going to be adding a 4th play and possibly a 5th play. So really excited about this card. Got a lot of angles that I like. A couple things I want to look at a little bit further, but I do have 4 plays that I do like, and I'm going to be probably doing that right up tonight. So clients will be receiving that, tonight, tomorrow, when I do release that play. So I'm going to be having more plays. I do really like this card. So, one thing is we have been cashing in very nicely here this summer. Of the last 6 UFC events, we've cashed in on 5 of them, plus 21 units over that span. I've definitely been traveling. I went over to Turks and Caicos a couple months ago, was at the Jersey Shore last week, was really enjoying myself. Friends and family had a fantastic time. I think I need to keep doing more of that. I can get used to this. Cashing tickets and hanging out on beaches. I would love to keep doing that, but here we are back in the studio getting things done. So what we're going to do here is we're going to talk about the main event of the evening, which is between Cory Sandhagen and Dillashaw. Now you got Sandhagen, he's a minus 180 roughly. We are seeing that line kind of tick up in certain sports books. And then you've got Dillashaw on the other side is a plus 150. Now what we're going to do, what we always do, break down the last few fights for each fighter, see what we see if one fighter can expose the other, and if it makes sense to place a wager. So we're going to talk first Cory Sandhagen. He went up against Aljamain Sterling 3 fights ago, and boy, this was an interesting fight. I mean, stylistically, an interesting fight, but the one thing that you saw right out the gate was you saw Sterling just charge in. He just charged in, cut distance, looked to get inside. And really, Cory, he definitely has a good footwork. You do see the way that he smoothly moves from southpaw to orthodox, very smoothly. He has great footwork, but right away, Sandhagen threw 1 body kick, and Aljo was looking for that. All Aljo wanted to do was cut distance, look for something to grab onto, look to get a hold of him, look for the takedown, look to get in the clinch, make it dirty, get in tight, get you up against the fence, and that's exactly what he did. He was able to get him up against the fence, and pretty much what he was able to do from there was just work to the back. And I gotta give Aljo a ton of credit. The way he was smoothly able to do that, and also it almost looked like Sandhagen was kind of surprised. I mean, it was kind of like he kind of felt, hey, let's get into a rhythm here, main event, let's kind of, and really it was a great strategy, I think, by Aljo to kind of cut distance, get in tight, got him, got the back of Sandhagen, took him down, got the body lock, and at that point there, it was a bad spot. It almost was stopped maybe 30 seconds before that because Aljo was working into a rear naked choke. Sandhagen kind of gets, works his way kind of out of that, but it was a tough spot. Ended up sinking it in. Sterling gets the submission victory in that first round. And that actually did push Sandhagen, and people kind of start to question, is Sandhagen, is he really that good, or is this hype? And this kind of brought some of that to the table. But he goes out there and he loses against Sterling. Now, 2 fights ago, he fought Marlon Moraes. Now, this was a fight here where I think it was about a pick'em line. I think the line was about a pick'em. And the one thing about here, where you take a look at it, is really the thing where Cory Sandhagen, and the way that he moves, and the impressive part of this fight was you've got, obviously, you've got the lankiness and everything of Sandhagen, the way that he kind of moves around, the lankiness, the rangy striking. But on the other side there, you've got Marlon Moraes, who is a fantastic kickboxer, lots of power, able to utilize a different striking. Now, the gas tank has always been a question mark for him, but I really liked how comfortable Sandhagen was at range, kickboxing with an elite level kickboxer. I thought it was really impressive. Obviously Sandhagen has the ability to kind of work out, work from the outside. He's got fantastic striking himself, so it's not like it's anything too shocking, but I just loved the way he was utilizing leg kicks. He was softening up Marlon Moraes, really setting up some nice combinations, and I thought it was very interesting the way that, Moraes was kind of trying to work his way in, wasn't able to, and a big part of this also was the volume. I mean, I love the volume that Sandhagen pushes out. I mean, he is really able to kind of go out there, push forward, keep the volume, and the versatile striking. Sorry, I'm a little under the weather if you're, when my voice sounds weird. But the versatile striking, I loved the versatile striking that he had. I mean, really, it's leg kicks. He's switching from southpaw to orthodox. Then he's throwing strikes up top, body kick, a spinning kick, spinning back fist. I mean, he really brings just a big arsenal to the table. And I was very impressed by the way that he was utilizing that. Now, going into that second round, again, it looked like, pretty much an even round. Both of them kind of landed good shots. But the way that it ended, and of course it ended by a spinning heel kick for Sandhagen getting a knockout, but I thought it was the way he set it up was the impressive part. Really utilizing, again, throwing different things, throwing different spinning combinations, giving different looks to Moraes, and that's what allowed, because you even saw Moraes where he started spinning, it almost looked like he thought it was coming from a different spot, and bang, knocks him out, drops him, Sandhagen gets the finish. I thought it was extremely impressive finish for him. I know Moraes, some people are question marking how good Moraes really is at this point, but he goes out there, gets the job done, second round knockout, victory. Now, most recently, and both of these guys' most recent fights, we're not going to talk that much about, because most recently, he fought Frankie Edgar. Now, we're not going to talk about this. This was a 28-second fight, not long. Frankie looking for the takedown and the flying knee that goes up, which is going to be immortalized, and probably going to be, Frankie's going to be, even when he's retired, or whatever the hell he's going to be doing, you're going to see Sandhagen and this knockout for a very long time in many, many highlight reels for an extremely, extremely long time. Even the Marlon Moraes, those are both, coming off back-to-back highlight reel knockouts. Very impressive for him. Not going to break this one down. Nothing to talk about here. Frankie looked for a level change, and there you had Sandhagen land the knee that ended the fight. First round knockout for him. So now we're going to go and we're going to talk. I got to get through this here. Now we're going to talk about TJ Dillashaw. Now, 3 fights ago, he fought the first time. He fought Cody Garbrandt. Now, this obviously, again, some of these fights we've talked about here on the show before, but it obviously takes a little bit away from it from the time that TJ's been out. We're going to run through this pretty quickly here because there were some time ago. But the first fight that they had between Cody and TJ, the interesting part of that first fight was that first round, they actually, they kind of were relaxed. I mean, for how much hype was going and how much hatred and bad blood, both guys really were getting the feeling out process, staying at a distance, working angles, a few combinations, a pitter-patter shot. You did see Cody kind of lunge in with some big, a big combination, then kind of backed off, and then you saw, TJ, maybe threw a quick combination, backed off. A lot of times you did see TJ, smiling, grinning, trying to get, almost, and that's obviously, that TJ has that, even on the fight poster, they've got TJ's grinning. I mean, that smug look, I think everybody wants to punch. But he goes out there in that first round, not much happens. Up until the end of that first round, you did see that Cody, a big exchange, Cody drops TJ, and if this fight was another 10 seconds long, fight's over, Cody Garbrandt wins, and that is a different universe that we are not in, because in that second round is when TJ goes out there, lands some nice shots, he goes out there, lands the big head kick, which drops TJ lands the big head kick that drops Cody, but Cody actually, I gotta say, kind of bounced back from that. Dropped, bounced back up. He wasn't, as good as the shot looked. I thought it could have possibly ended the fight, the way you see it. But he ended up bouncing back and again, stands in the pocket. You do start to see the emotion come out, and everybody knows that Cody has that issue where he just gets the emotions, just wants to fire, stand toe to toe. But he goes up there, they start exchanging a little bit after the head kick, lands the big shot, drops Cody. Cody goes down. TJ gets the fight, wins the fight, finishes with ground and pound. So there you have it there. TJ wins a second round knockout. Then 2 fights ago, he fought Cody again a second time. But this is a fight again, these 2 fights, I don't really want to break down because there's not much really here. This was another fight here where, the exchanges happen. You've got Cody who really pushing, gets emotional. As soon as he gets hit, he wants to throw out a big shot. He wants to, get the exchanges. Does not have the chin to do something like that. So, and, excuse me. So TJ goes out there, lands a big shot, drops him, finishes the fight over. Again, I don't really want to get into this fight, not really too much to talk about. And then most recently against Henry Cejudo. Again, a fight I'm not really going to talk about too much. I'm sorry, I know normally I dive into all of these so much. One, I'm a little under the weather. Two, there's not much to break down here. I really want to kind of wrap it all together because I've got a lot to talk about there. But against Henry Cejudo, that's where the EPO kind of maybe happened there. But either way, Henry Cejudo goes out there, gets the knockout victory in the first round in 32 seconds. TJ loses, Henry wins, and there you have it there. So, with that being said, now you take a look at these two guys. Now, obviously, you've got both these guys have got great striking. They're well-rounded fighters. You've got all of that. You've got the awkward style of Dillashaw. You've got the smooth transitioning from southpaw to orthodox for Sandhagen. And those are obviously some of the big things. But what I do like really about Sandhagen is the flow state that he's in, and really you see him elevating fight after fight. The way that he moves and how smooth he is, how those combinations flow out. Again, we talked about a little bit about, in the Moraes fight, it's just the way that he moves is just very, very smooth. He seamlessly is tying these combinations together very seamlessly. And, he's tall and lanky for the division, very rangy striking. That's a lot to overcome for anybody. And cutting the distance may be the path to victory for Dillashaw, as you did see with Sterling, maybe utilizing some wrestling, maybe utilizing some grappling. That's going to help possibly start to get things going for Dillashaw in those spots. And I think that's a big part. But I think obviously the elephant in the room when you talk about this fight, when you watch any YouTube show, any show at all talking about this fight, is the EPO. Is how is it going to have affect him? Is it going to, how much is it going to affect him? How long did he use it for? Was he on it his whole career, and now is he off it, and this is really going to hurt him? And there's a lot of those questions. Those are things we're never going to know. Obviously, it sounds like, and even Dillashaw just talked about it on his interview. I think it was today. He had said they had tested samples from his past, all of it. I guess they've got a room of urine. I'm not really sure what's going on, but they tested all these past urine samples, retested them. All of them came clean besides that one. So I guess you take that with a grain of salt. But I think it's the combination of a few things that I don't like TJ Dillashaw. Now, obviously, if he was on EPO, or how long he was on, that's up for debate. But if he was coming off it, of course, that's going to change certain things. But I think it definitely is other things in the fact, the 2-year layoff. He's got years off out of the fight game. Now, that hurts anybody. I don't care who it is, that hurts anybody. But you add in the fact that he's 35. So you add in the fact that he's 35, he's been out for years, and he's coming back to fight somebody who's running for a title shot. He's not coming back on a tune-up. I think that is a massive mistake for TJ Dillashaw. I know he wanted to get right back in it, and I know that I'm sure he's been chomping at the bit. He wants to get back in it. He doesn't want to waste time. I'm sure that's a big part too. Being 35, he doesn't want to come back. Fight some guy middle of the pack. Beat him. Now look for somebody else. Maybe the fight. This is a fight that sounds like that he wanted. Cory wanted this as well. So there are some interesting parts when you talk about that. But coming back against Cory in his prime, ready to go, hitting on all cylinders, I think that changes a lot. Now, we had a bet last weekend, Miesha Tate minus 125, which was a great line. Coming back out 5 years, a lot of things there. And that was the big storyline when you heard other people talk about this fight. Hey, Miesha's coming back. It's been 5 years. How good is she? And all these things. And those are things that obviously are part of it. But the biggest reason that I liked Miesha Tate was who she was fighting. I mean, I believe that Miesha Tate really, grinded it out, got in shape. She looked fantastic. Looked in great shape. But it's who she was fighting. I mean, you've got, this, it was no Cory Sandhagen. I mean, you've got the fact that, she 44 years old, she's fighting a 44-year-old female who's on a retirement fight, who's 0-4 in her last 4 fights, and can't stop takedowns. This is the perfect situation for Misha to come back and get a victory. Now, it was a layup fight for her. Obviously Misha wants to get into the title picture, so but she wanted a tune-up fight. So there were a lot of questions being out for the extensive period of time that Tate was out for. But this is a different situation. You got TJ coming back against a monster, against a guy who's coming off back-to-back highlight reel knockouts, who looks sensational, who's big and lanky for the division, and really putting it all together. I think that's a massive, massive mistake. Plus the fact, the style at which TJ likes. I mean, TJ can wrestle. He can level change. I think he's going to have to do that in order to win this fight. He's going to have to. But he likes to fight in space. He likes to fight in space. He likes to keep distance. He likes to move around the cage. He likes to, toy with his opponent, mess with distance, mess with range. Something like that is a perfect style for Cory Sandhagen. I mean, the way that he fights, the style that he fights, if they're going to fight at a distance and TJ can't get Cory down, this is going to spell absolute problems for TJ over 5 rounds. I mean, it really is. And again, coming off the layoff, fighting somebody at this spot here, and you also take a look at some of the wins that TJ had. Now, I know this is another debate that a lot of people are going to talk about, but you look back. I mean, he had the 32-second knockout loss to Cejudo. Prior to that, he beat Cody Garbrandt twice, which now we're starting to be a little bit iffy on Cody Garbrandt even more. He beat John Lineker, who isn't even in the UFC anymore, and Rafael Sunsao, who's 0-3 in his last 3, and kind of heading towards the sunset and retirement. So, he can't totally knock it, but again, not the most crazy wins. And prior to that, he lost to Dominic Cruz, which obviously it's Cruz, and Cruz is a great fighter. But with that all being said here, I like Cory Sandhagen at -180 is what I got the bet in at. Again, I do see it getting to -190. I am seeing it up there, but I did bet it at -180. I like that price. I think he has the absolute possibility here to go out there and dominate the fight. Go out there and dominate against TJ Dillashaw. I just think he's got the ability to either win five rounds, 4 rounds to 1, or go out there and knock out TJ Dillashaw. I really like what Sandhagen does. I think he's way too versatile. I think there's too many weapons that he has compared to Dillashaw. I think Dillashaw, again, love his movement, love what he does. He's going to have to level change. He's going to have to try to find that. But I think that being his only path to victory, in my eyes, I don't see him knocking out and standing at range and knocking out Sandhagen. I really like Sandhagen. I think he gets the job done. He goes out there, gets the victory. So for my play is going to be Cory Sandhagen -180. That is my play. Boy, I sound like shit right now, but that is my play right now for the main event of the evening, Saturday night. If you want to take a look at my other client plays, they're linked down in the description. Again, I will probably have 4 to 5 plays. Have 3 up right now. One of them is a 4% play. Take a look, and we will hopefully cash in 6 of 7 UFC events in a row. Really excited about it. Definitely. Subscribe, like, comment, all those great things. This is Kyle Anthony's UFC Betting Show, and we'll see you next time.